Help Me Howard. Every person that Help Me Howard helps does not always appear on TV.
And even if you do see them on Channel 7, oftentimes Patrick and Howard keep helping them. How, you ask? Here's tonight's Help Me Howard with Patrick Frazier.
The one thing you don't want to do during the holidays is disappoint kids, but Wanna-Do City did.
If they're giving me the cold shoulder, they're probably giving everybody else a cold shoulder as well, and I just don't think that's the right thing to do.
The Entertainment Center revealed they were shutting down on January 2nd. They also told people like Lewis, who bought an annual pass for his kids for next year, tough luck, we won't refund your money.
So basically, Wanna-Do City doesn't want to do.
Then our story aired. The Miami Children's Museum called us and said, tell the kids who have a pass to Wanna-Do City they can come to the Children's Museum for free.
Well, we feel bad for the families, and it's the holiday season, and it's an opportunity for us to give back to the kids and the families in the community.
Thanks to Spiegelman's generosity, your Wanna-Do City pass will get you into the Children's Museum for free till the end of January.
I'm pregnant.
Speaking of kids, when we met Christine, she was in her last year of law school, single, pregnant, and living off her student loan. But she could not get any state help because she was in school.
That law just seems ridiculous to me, that as a student you're just categorically denied.
After our story aired, Christine got a little help and managed to squeak by. Christian was born, and not only did she graduate from law school, she passed the bar while 8 months pregnant.
It's been great. It was stressful, of course, because of everything, not being the ideal situation, but geez, when you have a blessing like Christian, then kind of all goes away.
A lot of our stories turned out well this year.
Free rent. I bought him clothes.
When a teenage friend of Molly's son got in trouble, she took him in and treated him like her own child. She even loaned him money, which he refused to repay. After we talked to him, he promised to start repaying, and he kept his word. So far, he's given Molly $300. He owes her $300 more.
We took out insurance for $1,800 on the material.
When Jack had to send brass fittings back to a company, he insured them. But when the materials disappeared, the Postal Service only paid him $300 instead of the $1,800 he had insured them for. After our story aired, he got another check for $1,500 from the Postal Service. One story that began 10 years ago now has a sad ending.
I knew my chances of living was getting slimmer.
Margaret Daigle needed a $300,000 liver transplant, but she lived in Broward, where people who could not afford expensive transplants died. Many people and agencies joined us, and Jackson did the transplant Margaret never would have been able to afford.
That's my limo?
That's it.
Oh, my God!
Since Margaret had never been in a limo, that's how we took her home. She lived for 8 more years, coming by to say hi, calling to talk. The last time I talked to her, she sounded tired of the struggle of living with a transplant. A few weeks later, she went back to Louisiana, where she was from, and died. God bless you, Margaret.
Nice bedroom set.
But fortunately, not many Help Me Howards are life and death.
Every penny from this store goes back into building Habitat homes.
A driver smashed through Habitat for Humanity's Broward store.
Habitat has insurance, but we have a $5,000 deductible.
The driver refused to pay. After we spoke to the Broward State Attorney's Office, they took him to court, and a judge ordered him to pay $5,000 restitution to Habitat for Humanity. That's the good news. The bad news, he's not paid and probably won't pay.
Has anybody offered to write you a check for $5,000?
No. Wouldn't that be lovely?
And sometimes Help Me Howards turn out even better than we could have hoped for.
When we saw the original Help Me Howard, we started to get to work on trying to figure out a way to help out.
Towboat US saw a story about Norma Petrone. A man had abandoned his 65-foot yacht on her dock. It sunk, dumping oil in the water, getting her fined, and hauled to court by the city.
You wouldn't understand how happy I am. This has been here for so long.
It would cost $50,000 to remove the boat. Towboat US did it for free, got it down the canal where a front crane service pulled it out of the water and crushed it up. And they were not the only kind-hearted people.
It's misery and suffering.
Last week we told you about Gail Sullivan, who went broke caring for her disabled brother. Her water bill hit $3,200, an impossible amount for her to pay.
I'm not going to stop until her water's turned on.
Paula Vickers from the Second Chance Society did not stop. She contacted us. Our story aired.
It went phenomenal, Patrick.
South Floridians flooded, sorry for the pun, flooded Paula's office with the cash to pay Gail's water bill.
At least 20 to 25 people called, and they're still calling. People stopped by to give cash donations. Everyone was very, very, very moved by the story.
Gail will now have running water. Norma will no longer have a sunken boat. Lewis's kids will be able to play at the Children's Museum. The list goes on and on. Not a bad year for Help Me Howard. I'm Patrick Frazier, 7 News.